Thank y'all for tuning in once again. As always, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. When you do subscribe, hit the notification bell so every time I drop a video, you will be the first to know about it. You see the thumbnail, you see the screen. Let's get into it. This is from the VirginiaMercury.com, and it reads 92% of Virginia babies born out of wedlock have fathers ID'd on their birth certificates. Paternity matters for maximum federal funding for low-income Virginians. Now, I'm gonna go through this article, but I'm gonna tell you there's an underlying reason why this really benefits the child support system, or the counties, or wherever the states that get the funding. I'm gonna tell you why this is important to them. But let's get to this. Each year, Virginia must make sure that at least 90% of children born out of wedlock have fathers identified on the birth certificates in order to receive maximum federal funding for low-income families living in the Commonwealth. It said, according to the Virginia Paternity Establishment Program, the state has been exceeding these requirements for at least a decade, even as over 1/3 of all births in the Commonwealth continue to come from unmarried women. VPEP program manager Yesani Peaker said in 2022, Virginia has had a 92% paternal establishment rate, while the Commonwealth's average rate in hospitals is 77%. Peaker say that factoring in births that occur outside of hospitals is what puts Virginia ahead of the curve. So basically, I think it's saying that I guess 92% of all kids born in Virginia, the father is on a birth certificate. And then I think the dad has to fill out some kind of form to just, to grant his rights. I think this is a good program. I think this is necessary. I did a video about the paternity test and how a lot of these guys are demanding that paternity tests be put in law. Mandatory paternity tests be put into law when a child is born. It should be taken. Because a lot of times these females will, what they say, mama's baby, daddy's maybe. A lot of times these females are claiming that these guys are telling these guys that they're the father of these kids, and then come to find out months and years later that they're not. And then they put the onus and the responsibility on the dad, or the guy who has been taking care of the child all these years, to still stay in the child's life. But you have pretty much destroyed the relationship, severed, not gonna say just severed, but you have damaged the relationship between the father and the child, because the father's just he's gonna feel some type of way, and rightfully so, because he was lied to. Number one, he was lied about the relationship between the mother and himself, and then he's lied about about being the father. And sometimes these lies come from married women, but because these laws in this state, in this country, make it to where that if you're married and your wife has a child, you are automatically deemed the father, which is the craziest thing. So, but I know they wrote these laws back in the day to kind of, to help the women, because they had very little rights, very few rights as women, because most of them didn't work. Stay-at-home mom. The man, took care of everything, and if he felt like divorcing her, leaving her, he could leave her with nothing. So that's where the whole alimony and the child support and all that stuff came into play. Understood. But as time go on and you see that there are flaws in the system, things need to be changed. Like child support, or even custody in this country. Custody is automatically given to the mother. No, pretty much no matter what the living situation is. Even if the father has an equal or better living situation than the mother, it's hard for that father to get full custody. He can get weekend and Thursday night visitation, but that only works if they stay in the same town, or they stay close to each other, or if their jobs allow that. So it's got to be some kind of wiggle room and leeway to that, you know. But nope, they try to make it as hard. It seems like they try to make it hard as possible for the father to even, you know, get a great relationship with the child. But if you can make it a federal law to where every child that's born, paternity has to be established in order for these single mothers or mothers, period. If just, I mean, they could be married and something could happen to the father, and you know, the mother needs help, some kind of financial help. But I'm talking about, like, you know, the single mothers who have these babies. If in order for them to get government assistance, they need to know who the father is, because the government does not want to give to, you know, money to raise these children, and nobody knows who the dad is. Like, you know, people pay taxes and get upset because they say, man, look, our tax dollars is going to these, you know, these SNAP benefits and TANF and stuff like that. But it's like, who's the dad? Like, I don't know. Like, how you don't know who the dad is? Hell, I mean, you can go on Maury Povich. Well, you could. He retired. You could have went on Maury Povich and bring all 10 dudes you slept with. One of them is going to be the baby daddy, right? But at least find out something. But they wouldn't make him do it. And so you got people who are on the hook for children that ain't got nothing to do with them. And I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that's really unfair. Let's see. Scroll down a little bit. Virginia's performance is especially notable, Peaker said, considering that its program is structured around people reporting paternity on a voluntary basis. Unlike some states that require DNA tests or court order to establish paternity for any child born to unmarried parents. So it shouldn't really be a court order. It should just be automatic. Why does the government care about paternity? Now, I'm gonna read what they say, and then I'm gonna tell you what's also part of this. Why does the government care about paternity? Peaker said that the reason is that babies who are born to unmarried parents do not have the same rights as babies born to married parents in the Commonwealth of Virginia unless paternity is established. For example, if paternity was not established, if the father died, the baby does not have automatic rights to death benefits like life insurance, Peaker said. You know, like James Brown. You know, James Brown died, and then everybody came out, said they had his child. You know, it took years. I think they just buried James Brown last year. Within the past 12 months, that man been dead for a long time, for years, because somebody kept coming out saying that he was their father. And so, you know, they would have to, from what I heard, like, go back to his body, cut pieces off his leg, and do tests to establish if he's the father or not. But then I think last year they said that's enough is enough. You know what I'm saying? He's been dead long enough. Let's put this man in the ground. They finally buried him. See, stuff like that shouldn't happen. It should not happen. A child does not ask to be brought into the world. You have two consenting adults who perform an act. You know, whether it's one night stand or whether it's long-term relationship or whatever, that child should know who his father is. Now, do I think the government really should have to get into it? No, not unless, like I say, you trying to get child support. But a child should always know who his dad is. Or even if the child don't know, the mother at least should know. And the mother should at least keep in contact with him and let him know. Even if they don't have a relation, like a sexual relationship or what have you any longer, or any kind of relationship. The child should know who their father is, because when they get older, they're gonna ask, they're gonna want to know, and they're gonna want to know why these people know who their dad is, but he or she don't. Let's see. Continue. Any kind. Pecker said, quote, okay, it's any kind. Like if he was in the military benefits, or if he hit the lottery and won $1 billion and paternity was not established, they have no access to that money. Children without established paternity, she said, also do not have access to the father's health records. And you definitely need to know that, because what if you got cancer or sickle cell, leukemia, or the cancer, things like that run in your family, but you don't know that it does because you don't know your family. I mean, you gotta know. Your child needs to know that their history as much as, especially that medical history, as much as possible, so they know what, if things happen, they know how to deal with it. Say to create greater legal identification of fathers, the federal government in 1996 included a requirement in the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families Block Grant, which provides benefits and services to families with children in need that states promote the maintenance of two-parent families. According to the U.S. Child Enforcement Program, this was because prior to 1970, the majority of children who needed financial assistance required it because their fathers had died. By the 1970s, the majority needed aid because their parents were separated, divorced, or never married. Again, I'm going to tell you this. This here tells you like what the father has to fill out, to establish the paternity or what have you. It said make it easy for them to add the dad. But let me tell you one thing that they did not tell you. Why establishing paternity is so important. Because number one, when they know if a mother goes out and asks for government assistance, goes out and asks for food stamps, daycare, need daycare paid, little TANF check, the government wants their money back. And so what they want to do is go after, they want to know, okay, ma'am, you're in this dire situation. You live in the projects. You can't work for whatever reason when everybody else can't make no money. I guess you call it disability. I don't know what the hell is going on, but you get money from us. We need to get our money back. Who's the father? And the girl will be quick to say, I don't know. Okay, that becomes a problem that makes the government upset. Like I said, some states say, if you don't tell us who the dad is, we're not giving you anything. So a lot of them don't get it. I've heard women say, I ain't put my child's daddy on child support. Never did, never put him on that. Well, I'm sorry, but in some of these states, if you know who the dad is and it's on the birth certificate, the state gonna go after him regardless if you put him on or not, and they're gonna get their money from him. So that's one reason why they want to know who the father is, just in case that situation arises. Number two, for the state level, you put a man on child support, the state gets, I don't know if it's dollar for dollar or it's 60 cents on the dollar, but they get money back for every dollar that goes into the child, that child support is paid out. So it's a win for the government. So don't think it's just they just doing this for the child's sake. So they can care less about you or your children. But if it's a way for them to get money, put your man in the system, just in case he slips up, they got a 5x5 sale just waiting on him, or 5x10, whatever it is. That's waiting on him just in case he missed a payment. Oh, we're gonna jack his credit up. We're gonna put him in the system. They got that. They ready for that. But like I said, the main thing is, I feel, like I say, they get money out of it if they put you on child support. Oh yeah, you're not gonna get nothing for free. They go, but I think it's to be the devil's advocate. I think these systems that be put in place should help people think we got to keep families together. You see what I'm saying? Because if you separate it, you see what happens in these communities when you have like a lot of single parents and they're trying to raise these kids by themselves and there's no male role model. Don't necessarily, well, I'm just gonna say, yeah, they need to be in the house, but there's no positive role models in the neighborhood. You see what happens. I mean, these kids are destructive. They're gonna follow the easy and the cool thing to do, and the easy and cool thing is always the destructive thing. So laws like this, if everybody knew it and understood this, stuff like this should be taught in school, like in elementary and junior high, just so people can understand. Before we lay down, and try to make, and do something that could quite possibly make a baby. Here's what can happen on down the line. So let's get prepared for it. Or this could happen to my kids. So let me help prepare my children for the future. You feel me? But anyway, like I said, this is an interesting story. I guess I'll put this link in the description, man, because I want y'all to read it. Tell me what you think about it. Leave your comments below and then share it with the world. And with that being said, I leave you in peace, and I'll see you on the other side.